Welcome in, everybody. This is your host, Charlie Castro, with this week's YouTube channel video. Thanks for joining us today. This is Friday, February the 19th. We've got some really exciting stuff to talk about today. If you got a piece of paper and a pencil handy, I have that out. We're going to talk about a couple of different lists today. We had some new lists that did come in, some NPNs, as well as some stabilized cash flowing properties, which are actually pretty reasonably priced for what we've been seeing in the market these days. So we'll be talking about that. Each slide will have a summary, and on that summary slide there'll be a number or a letter associated with it. So if you jot that number or that letter down and you contact our office, we can then give you the information about that particular list. As many of you or most of you now probably know, we stopped sending out lists in mass email blasts about 4 or 5 months ago. It's worked out very well for us from a couple of different perspectives. First of all, the sellers are obviously more likely to provide us with their lists, tapes, properties, portfolios, what you may have, based upon the fact that they know it's not going to get slammed all over the internet. So we've had some great success acquiring new inventory. You're going to see some new stuff as well again today. But what we do is we do these YouTube channel videos every week. We provide those out to our buying community. And if you see something that interests you, you can contact our office. I'll give you all that contact information here in a few slides. And you can acquire that tape directly from us, learn the protocol, and submit your bids. This week, I'm going to focus on protocol on the REO tape. Now, the reason I'm going to focus on the REO stuff, I am going to do some stabilized stuff and some NPNs as well today, because we did get some new inventory in on both of those types of product. But I'm going to focus on the REOs, and the reason why is that we've now associated ourselves with a group that does financing. Now, if you're looking to do financing, particularly if you're a flipper, if you're looking to buy something, fix it up, and then flip it, within 12 months, we've got a financing package for you. So if you're a flipper, hang around today because you're going to see some stuff that we have not been able to promote in the past. This is exciting for us. If you're a flipper, this is going to give you access to capital, which allows you to expand your portfolio. So stay with us for that. Now, I've done this slide every week for probably the last 5 weeks. So yes, I know it's getting old. If you've been to our YouTube channels before, you've heard me say this, but I'm going to say it again because again, this week we had more folks submitting bids on stabilized, cash flowing, turnkey, recently rehab type properties, and the sort of that the habit is in the past you've been able to offer on stabilized portfolio. So for example, a package of 20 homes are all rented out. They've all got tenants. You could offer on that package, let's say it's in Atlanta, Georgia. You could probably offer on that in bulk at 70-80% of asking price. If you're in a place like Birmingham, or if you're in a place like Cleveland, Ohio, or if you were in a market like Boise, Idaho, those are those lesser type of markets. If you're buying a stabilized portfolio, it wasn't odd for you to offer 60 to 70% of fair market value. So again, the disclaimer, those prices have changed. If you're offering on cash flowing, turnkey, recently rehab type stock, you have to know that those sellers have become very reluctant to let those portfolios go for something not close to 70 to 95% of asking. Now, when I say 95% of asking price, I'm talking about California, Arizona, Nevada, Texas, some places. So those A markets there, you're not going to get portfolios, stabilized cash flowing portfolios for less than probably 80% of asking price or fair market value. Now, we've had a couple of offers for those that have been watching these from when we first started doing these. I had a large tape in Arizona. I won't get into the details, but it was over 300 homes. It was a $50 million tape. We're literally about $5 million apart on that tape right now with an offer from a legitimate qualified buyer. But because the seller's like going, hey, you know what? The replacement costs are so high in Phoenix, there's no motivation for us to give that away for less than 80 or 85% of asking price. So they're sticking to their guns. So I'm reviewing this again to remind you that if you're going to bid on cash flowing properties, rehabbed, renovated, performing assets, not distressed, if you're going to do that, you got to get closer to the asking price or fair market value. Now, where can you get properties below market value or well below market value? You can still get that stock. You just got to buy it in the REO space. That's what we're going to be talking about today, is buying off of these REO tapes, distressed, vacant properties that need work. That's where you get your values at. Now, as we tell people all the time, if you're looking for a particular market, Let us know what that market is, and we'll customize a tape for you. And I'll get into that more in a few minutes here. But for example, just this past week, we had people calling in and saying, I have a nationwide buyer. He buys everywhere in the country. Send me your whole tape. Nobody has a buyer that buys in all 50 states. I don't care who you are. If you have, it's new to me. I've never seen any buyer in the United States that says, I'll buy in every state if it's a good deal. So we want to be able to customize tapes for you. So if you tell us your market, we will then customize the tape for you. Now, I get asked this all the time. Where do you guys get your inventory from? So I'm just going to just real briefly go through what the source of this inventory is. As many of you know, I work with Phil Folks. Phil and I have been working together for the last couple of years. Phil and I met when he was the buyer, or not a buyer, when Phil was working for a hedge fund. He was a consultant to a hedge fund, and I was one of the guys that was out there finding properties, sourcing properties. And so Phil and I got to know each other like that. When the hedge fund stopped buying, Phil and I kind of took a hard right turn like everybody else did a year and a half ago, and we started doing some marketing, joint marketing together. Through that, we just have lots of connections. Just being around for a while and just knowing people allows us to get inventory in stock. For those people that say, well, you're not direct, you know what? In some cases, we're not direct. Sometimes cases we're direct to a broker, but we're never more than that. We're either direct to the seller or direct to the broker. We learned last year through a series of very unfortunate events that by dealing through multiple parties and daisy chains benefits nobody. Deals don't get done. People waste each other's time. Nobody's really culpable or at fault or doing something nefarious. It's just the way the industry's sort of grown up. People will get a list, they'll share it with their friends and their family, and then they'll share it with their friends and their family. The first thing you know, you got a list that's got 6 people attached to it. Nobody wins like that. So we try to get either direct to the rep or direct to the actual seller. Okay, so who do we work with? Private sellers, individuals that just have property that they're trying to flip. A lot of those guys we met through the days when hedge funds were buying everything in sight. We just knew people that were out there that were buying properties and looking to sell them. Very often we'll profile a property on here from somebody that we sold it to 5 years ago. They bought a property 5 years, now they want to sell it, we help them sell it. By the way, if you're a seller and you've got properties you would like to market, contact me. We can talk about how we can feature your particular inventory on these YouTube channel visual newsletters. We do have a couple banks reps. I have one bank rep that I'm working with right now. She's given me about 4 packages of NPNs. I profiled those last week. I'm not profiling those this week, and here's why. I got a bunch of offers on them. As it turns out, the banks on those notes, they were New York, New Jersey primarily. The banks on those notes wanted darn near full asking price. They weren't budging off their asking price. So we have offers submitted, but only a full price offer is going to take those down. So banks are even getting harder to buy from, even on the NPN side. We do work with some hedge funds. The Arizona tape, it's no secret. I got that from a hedge fund. I do work with a couple of different funds that I have relationships with, and that's been a successful vehicle for us. We do deal with a few small REITs, not many, but we do deal with a few small REITs. A lot of wholesalers. There's lots of wholesalers out there, guys that go out and they buy property, fix it up, and then flip it. And for what it's worth, by the way, if you are a flipper and you're looking to buy off one of the tapes that I'm going to describe in a minute, if you want to buy off these tapes and then after you're done rehabbing the property, bring it back to us to market, we're very happy to do that for you. So just bring it to us. We'll be able to profile on either these YouTube channel videos, or we can just put them in a mass blast and send them out to our entire buying community. Property management companies is last, and we probably have about 4 or 5 property management companies we work with, but one in particular, it's a large one, and they do give us inventory every month. So property management companies are a very good source of new inventory. Now, we're going to talk about an REO list. So before I start going through the protocol, let me describe the list I'm talking about. I'm talking about 2,000 REOs across the country. It's a great list to buy off of, and I'll explain all the reasons why. So when I'm explaining this protocol, remember, this relates only to this one list. And why am I doing this, by the way? I should probably start with that. I'm explaining the protocol up front because what we've learned the last couple months is we've had very good success with this list in a number of markets with a number of different wholesalers / flippers. But what we learned was the success in this tape primarily lied in understanding the protocol. You don't understand the protocol, you won't have any luck. It'll be a bad experience for you. You won't like me, and you won't have any success. And so you got to understand the protocol. So the first thing you want to do is request the list from us in your buying area. We're not allowed to send out the entire list, so please don't contact me and say I've got buyers in 50 states. I can't do that. Just tell me where you have buyers at, and I'll give you the list in those particular areas. So if you say, I need Cleveland, I need Kansas City, I need St. Louis, and I need Spokane, Washington, everything in those areas will make you a customized list. And by the way, there's another reason why we do that. If I send you that whole list, your eyes would roll back in your head. It's 2,000 properties, and they're not separated by state. So it's a hodgepodge. So what we're able to do in our database is go in and just pull out everything in those areas and give you just that list. So you start, number one, by requesting the list of properties in your market. Number two, request the access codes. We can get you the access codes in about 24 hours, excluding weekends. So if you want to get in, just ask for the codes and we'll get them for you. Now, the access codes give you access to the property, but you also have to do more than just going and looking at the property. These are REOs. You have to check for liens, all that sort of stuff. But the first step is to get the access code, get access to the property, and go take a look at it. You have to do your own due diligence, as I just mentioned. You want to view the property. You want to check for tax liens. You want to check for water liens. Factor all that into your offer. For example, let's say you're going to offer $10,000 on a house. Then you do your desktop due diligence. You find out that it's got a $3,000 tax lien. Well, you offer $7,000. You just say, Charlie, go to I do all the bidding back and forth for the buyer and seller. So when you submit the offer to me, I go back and submit the offer to the seller, and they'll come back to me and they'll say we accept it or reject it, and we go back and forth that we have an agreed to price. But if there's a lien on it, there's nothing wrong with you factoring it into your offering price. So do your due diligence first. The asking price on the spreadsheet is not firm. Now, this is the slippery slope. Well, how much can I offer? Can I offer 50%? Yep, sometimes you can. Sometimes you can offer less than 50%. I had a property in Birmingham that we had a bid on this week. It was asking $35,000. The guy bought it for $5,000. Now, why did he buy it for $5,000? Had a hole in the roof, had the flooring gone, the plumbing was ripped out of it. I mean, it was a vacant shell of a property. But these guys are reasonable. If the property is in distress, if it has major problems to it, they're going to take that into account. If the property is in decent shape, you can still get it for less than asking price, but then it depends upon the house itself and the market. So, for example, if you're in, let's say, Jackson, Mississippi, you're probably going to be able to get closer to that 65% of asking price than you would be, say, in Florida. If you're in Florida, New York, New Jersey, and you're offering 60% of asking price on a property that's in a good neighborhood that isn't in distress, you're probably not going to win that bid. So I don't want you to think this is going to be a hard and fast rule. Yes, you can buy below offering price. This is one of the beauties of buying off this tape. You can get great deals off this tape. But you got to be reasonable. And it's market dependent and property dependent. So you got to take all that into consideration when you make your bid. Offers will be submitted to me. I do not need an LOI. I do not need a POF. This is a real simple process. You submit your bid to me. I negotiate the price out for you. We get paid by the seller. You go to contract and you go to close. These are REOs. There's no contract date that's going to allow up to 30 days to close. If you come to me and say, hey, I want to buy that property, I need a 30-day close date, nobody selling an REO is going to do a 30-day close. You either got the money to close or you don't. These move quickly. So in some cases, you can close these in 1 to 2 weeks. I've had deals that close in less than a week. They have their own in-house attorney, so they can do their own paperwork internally, and they can churn out a contract in less than a few hours. So they can close these very quickly, but there's no such thing as a 30-day close date. Title can be conveyed by either warranty or quick claim deed, so it can be done either way. We've done both. And again, we are paid by the seller. Now, a note, and this comes from Matt Castro, and I'm going to give you his contact information here in a few slides, but on requesting lists, this list or any other, please send specific states, counties, cities, or zips, as well as any other buying criteria when making a request. Please do not make requests that could be considered subjective or too large in scope. For example, don't send Matt an email that says, give me everything in North Chicago, or give us the Atlanta suburbs, and these are our favorites. Just send me stuff in good areas or good school districts. Now, respect the fact, folks, that we live in California, and so when we're talking about property in Chicago, we have no idea what the south side, north side, east side, or west side is, nor do we know where the good areas are or where the good school districts are. So don't be vague in those requests. If you be specific, we'll be able to send you something in your area that a lot of these properties on here you're going to pick up for $20,000, $25,000. So you can do 3 or 4 of those at a time. So the minimum loan amount is $75,000. Now, this is tape number 122. I just got this, and this might be the most well-priced tape I've received, or list I should say, that I've received in quite a while in Florida. These are Palm Beach, Fort Lauderdale, Hollywood, Pompano Beach. This can be cherry-picked. These are 100% leased properties. The asking prices range from $60 to $150. These are really nice properties. They're all leased. They've all been rehabbed. They're all performing. But what's cool about it is that you can cherry-pick it. Typically, when I first received this list, I thought for certain that they were going to say, nope, got to sell it all at the same time. These are 46 in Florida, that can be cherry picked. That's tape number 122. You can cherry pick that tape. Now, this list grew in the last couple of hours. This is some non-performing notes and a couple of REOs in New York, New Jersey, and Illinois. Now, it grew because we just sold the one in Illinois, the one right smack dab in the middle there. We just sold that one. So that one's gone. But in the conversation with the seller today, he said, "Look, I got another 15 I'll give you now. Since we sold a few off here, he's going to give us some more of these." So I got another 15 of these coming my way. I do not have them yet. I'll probably have them by Monday. But if you're looking for non-performing notes and REOs, New York, New Jersey primarily, these can be cherry picked. They're going to give me their actual bottom line price. So there'll be almost no negotiating on the prices that I'm going to have in my hands in the next few days. Whatever the prices are, that's what they are. But he's given me his bottom line because he's trying to get them off his books for some reasons I won't discuss. But there's another 15 of these. The one in Illinois has been sold. That's tape number 123. We also received some NPNs this week that are in the Midwest: Ohio, Wisconsin, Indiana, and Alabama. These are extremely well priced. This is a private seller. We're direct. By the way, we're direct on the last. Matter of fact, the last 4 tapes that I just went through, the NPN, the large REO tape of 1900, the Florida list, the last 2 NPN lists, we're all direct on these. There's no broker in the middle. We're direct on all of these. So these are 20 NPNs in Indiana, Ohio, Wisconsin, Indiana, and Alabama. And this is tape number 124. This is a fresh list. I just got these a couple of days ago. Now in Chicago and Detroit both, I should point this out. We're going to say Chicago properties are tape number 125. I've got a seller of about 100 Detroit properties that are all going to go to tax sale March 31st. These are probably worth $4,000 to $7,000, $8,000 that he's selling for $1,500 because he doesn't want to pay the taxes on them. These are going to be in some bad areas, some bad properties in bad shape, but for $1,500 you can flip those, you can rehab those and rent those and make ridiculous yields. Chicago, on the other hand, I've been able to acquire recently a number of stabilized lists that are performing, that are doing very well. They're all rented, they're all rehabbed, they're all beautifully done. I've got one list of 50 right now in Chicago that they just rented and rehabbed in the last 3 months. So just the last 3 months, they've had new tenants put in. Rehabs are completely done. The company that did this owns a construction company. So Chicago and Detroit right now, I have a slew of inventory. So if you're interested in Chicago or Detroit, just say tape number 125, and we'll know what you're talking about. So that is our YouTube channel video for this week. My name is Charlie Castro. I'm going to put Matt's number up here as well. Matt is the one, by the way, who can customize your list. And I know you guys many of you have been in contact with Matt. As a matter of fact, at the end of each day, I say, "Matt, anybody request a list today?" And he'd say, "Oh, yeah, I had about 20 requests today for lists." So if you email Matt directly at matt.castro91@gmail.com, Matt will be the one. Matt's actually is the one that designed or created, rather, our database that allows us to go in and be able to pull properties out by region. He's done some great things here with the company, and so if you want to contact Matt, he's the one that will give you a list. Now, he's also the one that made the request that don't send him a note that says, "Hey, Matt, send me the south side of Chicago." Don't do that to him, but just if you give him zips, counties, cities, or just even the state, he can go in there and he can pull out everything that's available in that particular area, and that includes the NPNs as well. All the lists, tapes, portfolios, packages, individual properties that you see on these YouTube channel videos, all of those go into Matt's database. So if you're looking for something, reference the number that we've given out, but just contact Matt and have him send you over the list in that particular area. So with that is our YouTube channel video for this week. I did this in 19 minutes today, so I'm on 1 minute under budget today. I want to thank you for being with us. It's been good doing these YouTube channels. We get a lot out of it. We get to have a lot of great success. We have a lot of people watching the video every week. We do our brokers video after I do this one. So if you're a broker and you would like to send this out to your clients without our contact information on there, and you'd like to be able to distribute that to your buyers without them being able to contact me directly, we have no problem with that as long as we know you and we know what you're doing and that you're not going to take our lists and mass blast them out. So with that, I want to thank you all for being on today. Have a blessed week and look forward to talking to you all soon.